desperate to clear mines in the no-man's land between Russian and Ukrainian positions, and equally desperate to protect the mine clearers from Ukraine's explosive first-person view drones, the Russian military devised a new kind of vehicle this spring. It's an up-armored tank with mine-exploding rollers and shed-like improvised armor to shield the crew, and any infantry passengers, from FPV drones. Ukrainian troops derisively call the up-armored tanks turtle tanks, and refer to the hastily applied sheet metal and grills as barbecue armor. As soon as the turtle tanks first began crawling along the 700-mile front line of Russia's wider war on Ukraine in April, the Ukrainians began devising ways of destroying them. A direct hit by an artillery shell, anti-tank missile, or uncleared mine can do the trick. And so can back-to-back strikes by the very FPV drones the turtle tanks were designed to defeat, as the Ukrainian 108th Territorial Defense Brigade demonstrated recently. On or before Saturday, the brigade's Skyforce drone group spotted a T-62 turtle tank along the front line in southern Ukraine and aimed at least 2 of their bird-sized FPVs at it. The Russian occupiers firmly believe that if a protective structure of the barbecue type is welded on top of the tank, it will provide guaranteed protection against drones, the 108th Territorial Defense Brigade explained on social media. But operators of the Skyforce group prove that this is not the case at all. As a surveillance drone observed from high overhead, one FPV struck the tank on its metal-encased flank. Soon, a second FPV zoomed in, apparently aiming for the same side. The strikes triggered a blaze that consumed the tank. Double defeat is how the 108th Territorial Defense Brigade described the back-to-back strike tactic. The method makes sense. Many of the best anti-tank missiles have tandem warheads with 2 explosive charges. The first charge punches a hole in a tank's armor. The second charge explodes inside the tank in order to inflict maximum damage. The Skyforce Group's double defeat method for striking turtle tanks transforms a pair of FPVs into a de facto tandem warhead. One drone to make a hole in the outermost armor. A second drone to deliver a blow underneath the shattered shell. Whether other brigades can coordinate their drones to land 1-2 hits remains to be seen. It's also unclear whether all turtle tanks are equally vulnerable to tandem strikes. After all, not all of the up-armored tanks are equally crude. Some wear truly improvised armor made of whatever scrap metal the crew could scrounge. Others have add-on armor that's obviously carefully designed and installed, and may offer much better protection. Ukrainian troops have driven Russian forces out of a village in northern Kharkiv that Moscow had occupied for just over a week, it has been reported. The Deep State Map project, which has links to Ukraine's military, said on Telegram that Kyiv's forces had driven Russian troops out of Sotnitsky Kozachok, located near the border between Ukraine and Russia. Russia had reportedly occupied the village since July 3rd, which allowed Moscow's forces to expand the front line in the Kharkiv region, Ukrainian media reported. But a map by the Deep State channel showed Sotnitsky Kozachok marked in blue late Friday night instead of red, to indicate the presence of Russian forces the previous day. The village was among several settlements which had faced Russian shelling following Moscow's push into the region by the border, which was launched on May 10th. The Deep State Post on Friday said that Ukrainian defense forces had detected and destroyed a sabotage and reconnaissance group that had been in the village. The Post also said that Russians had made advances around 5 villages in the Donetsk Oblast. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, said Friday that Western aid has allowed Ukrainian forces to stabilize critical areas of the front and make successful counterattacks in northern Kharkiv, toward the city of Kreminna in the Luhansk region. The Washington, D.C. think tank also said that Kyiv will be able to step up these counterattacks over the coming months, as further Western security assistance arrives at the front line, and as Ukraine continues to build out reserves and new brigades. Kharkiv has been the scene of huge losses of Russian troops, which the British Defense Ministry said on Friday had reached conflict highs. The ministry said that daily average casualty numbers for Russian troops in the war were largely linked to a failed attempt to advance in the region since Moscow launched an offensive in May. The UK Ministry of Defense said that average daily Russian casualties, both killed and wounded, had reached 1,162 and 1,163 in the 2 months, and that over this time period, Moscow had likely lost in excess of 70,000 personnel. It comes amid reports of overnight attacks by Russian forces in the Donetsk region, which killed 6 people in the town of Lyman, according to Ukraine's State Emergency Service. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces downed 4 out of the 5 Shahid-type drones launched by Russia overnight Friday, according to Air Force Commander Mykola Oleshchuk. Another drone entered the airspace of Belarusia's Homel Oblast, which is just over the Ukrainian border, he added.
Уровень 30.05.
Орудие!
Выстрел!